Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2014. And we're going to take a look at the markets and look at some of the global markets that we've got, Germany, Russia, India, China. And then take a look at three Chinese stocks, Baidu, CTRP, and SINA. Okay, the Dow was up 100 points today. Yesterday was pretty well mixed. It was up a little bit, but I think the markets were a little more mixed than today. Today, the NASDAQ was down just a couple of points. I believe all the rest of the markets were up. So now we continue to push. So what I did was just left the scenario of got in here of the broadening top to see how this is shaking out. And we're getting very close to this top line. Doesn't have to go to the top line, can actually go through the top line a little bit. So the markets continue to push. This is almost going up in a straight line, which is pretty amazing. You just don't see this very often. So we're not getting, not really getting any divergence. A little bit in here between this move and here on DI plus, flattening on the demand curve a little bit, but nothing super strong. Although I will point out as we get in the indicator, the advanced decline today for this 100-point move, there's only 1.43 stocks up for every one down. So the ratio was pretty weak, pretty weak. I mean, 1.43 up for one down is not a very strong day by any means, but it was still up 100 points. And we're getting some of the, let's take a look at the SPX, but we're getting some of the individual stocks to distort the Dow a little bit. I think Visa is doing it again. A large number of the points are coming from one or two stocks. So SPX in here up, 11.47 today. And again, let's take a look at any divergence. Again, very slight in here. The NASDAQ was down 2.91, as we mentioned. Three doji type bars in here, and then we get this this open high and pull back down. Not sure what to make of this, other than I can make the case for broadening top in here. We'll see if these things are going to play out or not. The New York Composite is still hanging below. It has not gone above really. I think it was just fractionally on Monday, high 5160. Yeah, 5 points higher than the Friday high. That's it. But we're hanging this again, as I talked about, was that 78.6 retracement of this entire move down, if you remember that. So if we just go from here down to here. Oh, I forgot that I don't have it in there by default for whatever reason. Okay, so there it is. So it's right there at 78.6%. So we'll see if that holds, continues to hold on the New York Composite. Russell 2000, again, it's jumped back like everything else, and it's right at this trend line. This is the trend line from the March 2009 bottom, okay? So we'll continue to monitor and see what happens with that. Short-term trading index down just a little bit on the blue line, the 10-day moving average of it. What was the actual number? Didn't move much. 1.018, so 1.02. And CBO of the VIX, it's clustering in here. Very tight little bars in here. Not moving to really lower on the RSI. So we'll see if this is, it looks like it's trying to bottom, but it's hard to tell, honestly. The high-low index get a pretty good pullback yesterday with all that mixed action on the market. And then a little bit of a bounce today, but not much. 181 net new highs versus new lows for the day on a 100-point day. And I think that's it on the indicators. So that's the quick look on the market. The market just continues to push. No real dramatic new reading on it as far as I can tell, as far as I'm, from my perspective. Let's take a look at the German DAX to start off. The German DAX is still in this lower highs and lower lows. It has pulled back like we've talked about. But again, you've got the 55 below the 233. You got the 21 below the 55. So long-term and intermediate trends from a moving average perspective are to the downside. Yes, the short term has bounced up here. We'll just watch to see, does it start to roll over or does it continue to come up here and challenge this old high? And the next one we're going to take a look at is Russia, the MISEX Composite. Russia is surprisingly bouncing back. I mean, it's, look at this rally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is from like the last 6 days of trading. It's just gone straight up. They must be starting to feel good about themselves and or their economy or whatever, which surprises me given that nobody's done anything with the sanctions, or maybe it's the talk of a gas agreement or something between EU and Russia. I'm not sure. That may be it. India is pushing up here on the fifth minor wave that I think it's got some more to go. And I think I did some projection. I was thinking that this fifth wave has got a shot at hitting 9,000 before we get into further corrective action. And that's doing some projections based off of 1, 2, 3 to 4 and where 5 may end. So that's my ballpark number right now. I'm going to stick with that for until we see something different. I'm thinking 9,000 before we get serious correction. Shanghai Composite. This one I have changed my wave count on. As I started to look at it, I just didn't feel comfortable with what was going on here. Okay. And I may be wrong in here. I mean, who knows? But here's why I changed my pictures. I started to look back at this. This looked like large corrective action going on from this top, including this whole 2007, 2008, into late 2008. So to me, this was like a big, wave A down, B, and then a C wave of some type here that would have been like, again, looks like an A, B, C, W, X, maybe a Y, and having a long drawn out Y, with this being A, B, and the C being a diagonal. A diagonal ending C wave, which is totally plausible, totally possible. And I started to think about that as I looked at all the 3 waves that we were getting in here. I mean, this looked like clear 3 wave, looks like a 3 wave up into here. It looks like a 3 wave down to here. Now, this is where it gets a little bit funky. I mean, I could make the case that this is a 3 wave here. And then we get really choppy into this noise down in here. So I picked this point. I felt like this looked reasonable to me. Here is a clear impulse wave, okay? So this is a clear impulse wave. So the real question is this a 3rd wave? I mean, was this really one over here? It just doesn't look that great, but I mean, this could have been the 1, 2, and 3 somehow, but I'm going to stick with this, that the whole correction didn't end till we got down into here, and now we blasted off into this first wave, impulsive wave to the high side. So if that's the case, then I think we are looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then the reason that seems to jive with me is that we're getting divergence here on the RSI. Okay. It doesn't show up on DI plus until you go a little bit further than that. Does it show up on the demand? Not real well. So really the RSI is the only one it's showing up on between 3rd and 5th point in here. So we'll have to watch to see, do we start to come back down and get a little more corrective action and get a second wave back down to the downside. So that's my best shot at it for right now. We'll continue to look at it. Sometimes things become a little bit clearer when you look at it and take a little step back. So that's I mean, it's been acting very, very well. I mean, really, really nice trending here since mid-year, June actually. This would have, I would have called it, right around mid-June. So, okay, that's it for the markets. And now we're going to jump in and take a look at Baidu. Baidu, I think, may have just gone as far as it's going to go. I mean, the only caveat is it's a struggle on 5 waves in here, because this could be 1, 2, and then a third, and we could be doing something and get one more thrust. But the reason I'm saying this is because this is a 5th primary wave, as best as I can count it, okay? And let me get rid of this, and I'll come back and get it again. And so now it's the wave count in this move, okay? And this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and working a 5th wave up here. And clearly wave 3 was an extended type wave. And it's logical that this is 3 with the gaps that we had in here. You know, strong move up to the upside. That's typical of what you'd see in a wave 3. So now we get this wave 5. So given that wave 3 is extended, let's zoom in on it, okay? So if wave 3 is extended, then you're looking to see where could wave 5 end. And I think this is the beginning of it. Let me go to the top of 0 to 3, bring it back to 4. And the first 2 targets were exceeded. 38.2 and 61.8 were exceeded, okay? So even though this extended, this is extending. And now this is where it's 100%, okay? This is where wave 5 equals 0 to 3. And so that's why I'm thinking right in here is the potential top, potential high here, okay? Now, could we push a little bit? Sure. I mean, it doesn't have to work exactly to that, but that's why I'm saying ballpark. Now, so what you start to look for is you start to look to see, does this roll over? Does it close below the 10? Does it start to break trend lines? That kind of stuff. So far, it's not doing that. Okay, so that's the first sign. I mean, that it's starting to turn over is when it starts to break trend lines, start closing below the 10, and starting to roll over. So I think we're getting close, if not there already. So that's my take on Baidu. The next one is on CTRP. And again, I think CTRP, we've had 5 intermediate waves up. We're working a corrective action. This clearly looks like an A wave down, a 5-wave A wave, which would mean this is a zigzag that's playing out. And now we just got a potential B move, and that B just corrected 50% of the A move. Okay, that's why we got this 50 here. So if I click on this line, you can see the line I drew is from here to here, and this pulled back 50%. So that's a good solid retracement. So now it looks like CTRP is now again headed south and in another leg to the downside. And it sure did it pretty strongly today. I think TripAdvisor's was down big too, and the whole, it may be affecting that whole industry a little bit. I think Priceline was down big. Can't remember if it was today or yesterday. It was down a pretty good chunk. Okay, so CTRP, I think we're getting ready to put another leg to the downside in. And the next one we're going to look at is SINA. And SINA, this is, this looks like a little bit of a rising flag to me. Just kind of a little wedge type activity. Similar to this move, but on a much smaller case. Now this dotted line, this is the December 2012 low. Okay, so if you want me to back you all the way out, this is what that looks like. Now what this is really, I just threw a horizontal line in. It's right here. Okay, so you can see where SINA has been trading and acting, and where is it broken below. It's broken below all of this in terms of a low. And so now we're watching to see, does this low continue to come in and provide resistance now that we've broken down below it. And a good sign of that is if this starts to close below the 10 down in here. Let me blow this back up. And it hasn't done it. It looked like it wanted to the last couple of days, but it hasn't done it. So we just have to, again, continue to watch. This just seems like it's in that never-ending downtrend, and it just keeps getting a little bit of counter rallies and then just keeps moving to the downside. Little bit of divergence has been coming in on this move, but that was prior to this little counter trend move that it developed. So now what I was watching to see is to break this little trend line on the RSI. All right, so that's it on SINA. We'll be watching to see if it starts to roll over. If it does, I would think it would retest this low at a minimum, if not go lower. And I'll have to look to see where next support might come in. So, all right, that's it for tonight. We've taken a look at those 3 stocks. I did get into Yelp with puts on the trade ideas today. That seems to be working. And I am going to go walk back through the other stocks. There's several stocks I'm looking at, for possible trade ideas. I'll be looking at Facebook. Boeing's got my attention, not sure. These are all question marks, but Facebook, Boeing, First Solar, Valero, US Steel, Yandex. I'm looking at them. I haven't put out any trade ideas on them yet. So we'll see if anything looks decent for tomorrow morning. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Thanks for stopping by. And if you felt like this video was helpful, please share it on social media. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. First name and email, just click on this little red box here and you can download the PDF I've got for you. And it gives you access to the Trade Ideas webpage. And we had a great month with Trade Ideas in October. There were 6 trade ideas. 5 out of 6 were profitable. All the details are out there, and so we'll continue to do that on an ongoing basis. All right, we will be back on Saturday with the market update, and then I know I've got some other technical analysis chart updates on tomorrow and on Friday. So, all right, everyone, have a great Thursday, Friday.